Hi everyone, this is Anastasia, and tonight I am going to be sharing a little bit about flower essences, and one in particular, Echinacea. So I'm just getting started. I will wait a couple minutes, see if anybody comes and joins live. And I think I'll just start while I'm waiting for folks. I'm sure people will watch this afterwards. I also, in addition to talking about flower essences and how much I love them, just really wanted to share a little bit about my journey these past 3, 4, 5 months or so. I have not been doing as many lives as I had wanted to, had hoped that I would be doing. So I have just been going through a little bit of a tough time physically. I fell, well, in August I injured one of my knees, and it took several weeks to be able to walk, to be able to walk well. So that was kind of anyway, that happened in August, and then the middle of December, just before Christmas, a couple weeks before Christmas, I fell down some stairs and hurt my back. So why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing it because I didn't realize how much was going on in my body in the way of imbalance or imbalances. And I was just kind of holding everything together for quite a while. And it probably goes back 6 months to maybe even a year of just not being as in balance in my body as I wanted to be, on many levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. I think, and it is a blessing, the fall in December really helped to shed some light that I needed to focus on healing my physical body. So I am focused on that, and that's partly why I have not been doing a lot of lives, because of not feeling great in my body. I was just not really mentally and emotionally available for myself as much as I wanted to be, and certainly, to be hopping on live and sharing things, even though I love doing that. So I am on the mend, and we'll be doing these a little more often, as much as I can. So anyway, that's that. And if anyone has any questions, as I talk more about the flower essence piece, questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comment box. And if you are not live with me tonight, I will look at them later and get back to you. So I'm trying to even think when. I don't know that I've done a live on flower essences, except maybe sometime in the spring or summer. I did, I have a deck of cards that are flower essence cards, and I know I had pulled some for people. So I think that's probably the last time that I spoke about flower essences. And it is something that I work with in my practice. I make a lot of my own flower essences from fresh flowers when it's warm enough, and use them all throughout the year. For those of you that are new to flower essences, or new to even me, flower essences are, let's see, what is the best way to describe them? Well, let me show you what a finished product would look like. This is Echinacea. This is what I'm going to be speaking about this evening. So the finished product is in a liquid form. It comes in a little tincture bottle like this, a 1-ounce bottle, and it is a combination of water, and brandy, and the brandy is a preservative, so it preserves the water from going bad if people, hold on to it for more than a year or two. So it acts as a preservative. It's a mixture of half brandy and half distilled water, and then the essence of the flower. So it is the energetic piece of the energetic vibration of the flower. So it is different than drinking a tea of echinacea, because that is actually the herb that you are brewing and consuming. It is different than an herbal tincture, where they take the leaves and the roots and the flowers of a plant. In this case, with echinacea, you can use all parts to create a tincture. Some plants you just use the roots, some plants you just use the top third. So a tincture is the plant material that is soaked in typically vodka, could be brandy, so it's a form of alcohol. And the alcohol extracts the medicinal properties of the flower or the plant or the herb. But a flower essence is really just that, the word essence. It is the vibrational imprint of the flower. And I, for people that have heard me talk about flower essences before, this is the analogy that I use. Where most of us are familiar with stones and crystals, and this is a clear quartz crystal. And people have these in their homes. Some people will buy pendants and wear jewelry made of a stone, or oftentimes a lot of people will put a little tumbled stone in their pocket or in their pocketbook. I know kids love crystals and stones, so a lot of times if they have collected them or if their parents have purchased some for them, they're sticking those in their pockets. And this holds an energetic and healing and vibrational piece. So each stone has something different that it offers, and people hold them, wear them, keep the stones in their pockets because of that energetic piece and that healing element. So and most people, I can't say all, but a lot of people will pick up a stone and actually feel the energy in it, feel the healing properties of a particular stone or crystal. And they're used for all sorts of things: meditation, protection, physical ailments, emotional things, all that sort of thing. So this is the reason I talk about the stones is because a lot of us own some, or obviously see them, and it's tangible, whereas a flower essence is really something that's in a bottle. So this is a physical product, but so the way that this would work in comparison to a stone is people will take this internally. Whether you put some on or under your tongue, that's one way to take a flower essence, or a lot of times folks will put 2 or 3 drops in their drinking water and will drink that throughout the day. And you can do this multiple times a day. So I wanted to talk about echinacea tonight because it is one of my top favorite, not only flowers, plants, herbs, falls into all those categories, but it is one of my favorite flower essences, and it is a go-to for me. And I'll talk a little bit more about my experience, and then I will also read about the flower essence. I'm hoping you'll find that interesting. So let me show you a picture. This is echinacea, if you're not familiar with it. It is, it looks light pink and then to like a medium pink, and there is, it's called a cone flower because there's a piece of it here that is the shape of a cone. And typically the petals hang a little down. This isn't one of those flowers where the petals are up like this, like a rose or a carnation, but the petals tend to hang downward toward the earth. Really, really strong medicine. So for me, let me share my experience with this particular flower. And I am trying to remember. I've been using it for a number of years now. It could be 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years that I've been using this as a standalone essence. For me, it really helps when I am feeling really, really out of sorts, when I can't get sort of my act together, to be quite honest, and that is mentally and sometimes physically, but mostly mentally. For people that are familiar with the Bach flower essence line, which you can find in most health food stores and Whole Foods and things like that, there is something called Rescue Remedy. So again, you're buying it in a bottle. It usually comes in like a 1/2 ounce bottle, I believe. And the Rescue Remedy does consist of more than one flower essence. I don't have any myself right now, so I can't read off what's in it, but Rescue Remedy is just that, for people that are going through really trying times, for people that are experiencing shock or anxiety. It's a really wonderful flower essence to do, to take, say like when, if you've been in a car accident or something like that, or have had a fall or an injury, and your body goes into shock and kind of like tightens up. So the Rescue Remedy really helps the body to relax and the mind and the emotions to relax. I have found Echinacea to do the very, very same thing. Now, I can't promise that it will do this for everyone, but this is how it has really benefited me. And like I said, I've been using this as a standalone essence for at least 4, it could be even 5 years. And I probably at some point, I've got a really wonderful book here, was looking for something to help with the anxiety, and it also helps a lot with trauma. And that is something I use it for. So when I was talking about feeling really out of sorts and sort of sometimes having like a shaking feeling, like not feeling like in control, like there's something going on that I'm not in control of, and my body might be holding on to a lot of stuff, and then there does come a point where your body or your mind or your emotions are just so incredibly full that you can't hold anymore. And it's almost like filling a glass of water up to the top, and then it's just going to overflow because it can't take anymore. The actual container can't take any more liquid. And that does happen with us with life experiences, with disappointments, with sadness and loss and all those things. Our cup, gets full, and then it just starts to flow, to overflow. And for me, I found Echinacea literally to be a saving grace when I experience those times. Sometimes if I'm really good, and I'm not always really good, I'm not going to lie, if I take it daily, if it's just part of my daily routine, I am even keel. I don't really notice the severe like highs and lows, or that severe sort of panic or shaking feeling. And I tend to feel it physically in my body. It's a very low vibration, but it is like a shaking, like this almost, if you can see. So it's going on internally inside. And if I'm really good and I'm taking it daily, I can stay even keeled. But I'm not always really good about taking this daily. I forget. So what happens is I'll hit a stage where I'm feeling like I need some support, and I'm feeling like, and for me, it's usually old trauma that's resurfacing, that's coming up to the surface, but it's typically old traumas, old stories, old patterns. And sometimes it's a current situation that sparks the old trauma, sort of brings it to light. In any event, I will start taking this immediately. I just grab it. I'll take it 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes it works right away, and sometimes it takes a day or 2 for it to really take full effect for me. And then again, I start to feel this really, really even keel. it's like a magic elixir to me, for me. It's really fantastic. So I wanted to share this tonight because of how it's helped me. I do believe that it, is something that can help a lot of people. And just to speak to what we have been going through the past 3 years now, there's just been, on a global level, a lot of discordance, right? There's been a lot of unknowingness, a lot of anxiety, and I'm going to say trauma, honestly, because as a collective on the planet, we have been dealing with something that I don't know that anybody saw coming. It's very, very unexpected and unprecedented in our lifetime, anyway. Maybe going back to World War I and World War II, people were experiencing this kind of uncertainty and trauma. But it's something that most of us, unless you're older, we've not been through something like this, where the level of trauma and kind of shock has set in, and not just individually, and maybe not just in a community or in a home, but globally. So I just wanted to speak to that and to say that if you are needing any support, and if you feel like Echinacea might be an ally for you, feel free to reach out. I do have this on my website for sale, and I'm happy to support you in that. So let me read what's on the card here about the qualities of Echinacea, and then I'm going to go into more detail, in my book, because I think that you'll see after I read what's in the book how it relates to what I just talked about what we have all been collectively going through and how it can help to support. So Echinacea, one of the key words that is associated with this flower essence is the word consciousness. Echinacea stimulates and awakens your consciousness, helping break up and release outdated personal stories, emotions, and attachments that are holding you back from positive growth and self-realization, and awakening awareness of your true self when you have forgotten or lost connection. So, that is a really, really succinct explanation of what the essence does. So let me give you some more details, because I really like this explanation a lot. It's a little more specific. So the positive qualities of it when you are taking it and it's working, and what it will help to support you and elicit in you, is the positive qualities are core integrity, contacting and maintaining an integrated sense of self, especially when severely challenged. So that's how it helps to support. The patterns of imbalance, and what this means is if you're feeling what I'm going to share next, this is how it can support you. So if you were to see a doctor per se and you said these are my symptoms, so let's read these as sort of symptoms or what you're going through, then this flower essence can help with this. So feeling shattered by severe trauma or abuse, which has destroyed one's sense of self. And the other thing it helps is if you have been feeling threatened by physical or emotional disintegration. So I'm going to read that one more time just because I think it's important. Feeling shattered by severe trauma or abuse, which has destroyed one's sense of self. So like your self-esteem, your self-worth, your confidence. And if you have been threatened by physical or emotional disintegration. So there's a paragraph I'm going to read. If you can just sit tight and sit back, because I think it's important information. So one of the most important initiations in the contemporary life of the soul is that of the coming in right relationship to the self or spiritual ego. While inflation of the ego can be a formidable problem, there are equally devastating assaults to the positive spiritual identity of the human being. Until recent times, Family, community, and nature have provided the context for a certain kind of self-identity. But the increasing anonymity of modern civilization, along with countless other mechanizing and alienating forces, leaves many souls bereft of earthly or human nourishment. Most importantly, acts of crime, violence, and sexual or emotional degradation, often beginning even in early childhood, shatter the dignity of the self. Many souls live a phantom-like existence, seeming to have a functioning persona, when in fact only a meager connection to the true spiritual self exists. This is one of the underlying reasons at the level of soul reality for the vast outbreak of immune-related diseases. Echinacea Flower Essence stimulates and awakens the true inner self. This is a fundamental remedy for many souls and physical illnesses, especially when the individual has experienced shattering and destructive forces. Echinacea restores the soul's true self-identity and essential dignity in relationship to the earth and to the human family. So there's a lot there, but towards the beginning it talks about, for me, it talks about this disconnection that many of us in the modern world, and especially if we live in cities or really congested areas, that we're disconnected from nature. And a lot of times we're disconnected from community because we are just so busy going to work, raising our families, paying the bills, just really, really on the go. Very, very kind of fast-paced life, lots of responsibilities, not a lot of time to just relax. Not even the body, but just the mind. Our mind is bombarded with so many images and so much stimulation throughout the day that even just being able to quiet the mind can be quite challenging for people if they don't have, relaxation practice or meditation practice or something like that. So this flower essence really speaks to the fact of how even like 100 years ago we were more connected to the earth and the soil. And many of our grandparents or great-grandparents grew up on a farm. Maybe were farmers, but let's just say grew up on a farm and in small communities. So there is this disconnect that has happened. And, that is sort of the more... that's sort of the easier piece of this. And I know as I was reading more and more, it talks about, like I said, trauma and destructive forces and feeling really, really disconnected from your soul. So that is Echinacea. This is why I love this plant so much. I love the actual plant when I'm out in the garden and I am looking at Echinacea. It brings, for me, this sense of peace and calm. It's just so relaxing to look at it. And that's another thing that, whether or not you ever use a flower essence or take a flower essence, just being in the presence of flowers and plants and herbs has a really, really healing quality to just being in in its field, in its presence. And there are messages and there is healing that the flowers bestow upon us. So flower essences are a way to capture that essence and capture the vibration of the plants, which helps to support the body. So I do want to say, I do just want to be very, very clear that I am not a doctor and I am not a medical professional. And, you should always consult with your doctor, physician before trying anything new, taking anything. I do know that flower essences are very safe. Young children can use them. They are even really safe to use with animals. So dogs and cats, if they are experiencing any type of anxiety or anything like that, excuse me, flower essences are really fantastic to, add to their water bowl, or even like put on their paws, not their palms, their paws. So really, really lovely. So they're very, very gentle, and at the same time, really, really powerful in how quickly they are able to support us. Let me see, what else do I want to say about flower essences? My hope and my goal is to come on once a week and share a different flower essence with you, and share the properties of the flower and how it is here to help us and support us. So that is my goal. And let's see, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I will put the link below if you're interested in more information, or if you'd like to, to reach out to me to get some of this particular essence here. And I also make custom flower essence blends for people. And what that means is I sit down with my essences and I use a pendulum to dowse to see what essences you need in this moment to support you. And it's usually anywhere between like 5 or 12 essences that let me know that they want to work with you. And you would still get something just like this, but it's going to have more than one essence in it. And depending on what people are going through this time of year, if you're in the northern hemisphere, as I am, it's winter time. It's cold. The sun isn't shining as brightly as it normally does in the summer, of course. So people can be dealing with the effects of less sunlight, so seasonal affective disorder, which is also called SAD. Some people are dealing with loneliness or depression or anxiety, or separation, or maybe lack of connection. Some, and not all, people tend to be more quiet in the winter and hibernate, which is really what we should be doing, following the seasons. So that is not a bad thing. But if you are doing too much of that, you may be walking the line of sort of isolating yourself. But there are just all sorts of issues that come from moving in between the seasons. And for someone like myself who really enjoys being outside and walking barefoot in the warm weather, I'm not a winter sports person, so I do go out in the winter, but it's not as much in the summer. It's more challenging to bundle up and get out there, but I really do my best to get out and get my vitamin D as much as I can during the winter months from the sun. So flower, having said that, flower essences are not just for winter time. They are really here to support us all throughout the year. Because we are definitely going through different things. And I think what I might just leave you, wanted to keep this around a half hour, but I'll just leave you with how I was introduced to flower essences a really long time ago, maybe close to 20 years ago. And I'll share this story more than once because I think it's important to share, and I would love to hear if anybody else has any experiences with flower essences themselves. I would love to hear that. So about 18, it's about actually 22 years ago, I think, 20, somewhere in there. Somebody that I was working with, a massage therapist, told me about a flower essence practitioner, and she just loved her, and she was telling me how helpful it had been for her. So I went to see her, and she was in the next state over, so I would drive an hour to see her because I didn't know of anyone else in our area that was a flower essence practitioner, although there are tons of people, but at that point I didn't know of anyone. So her and her husband owned a health food store, and they ran it together, but she worked upstairs and she would do consults for people. So you would sit with her, and she had this way of using her intuition and muscle testing she was working with the Bach flower essences pretty much. I think that was the system she had, is the Bach flower essences. So she would sit with me and muscle test to see which essence I needed. And she would go through the process of doing that. And then she was able to, and I think this is really, really neat, she was able to say to me, at age 5, did such and such happen? Or at age 8, were you feeling, did you experience something like this emotionally? And I was like, for a lot of things, I really could remember. I was like, yeah, at this age, this happened, and it caused me to feel this. And there were many other times where she would give me an age and something that had happened, and I really didn't have a recollection. And, that's okay, because there are lots of things that happen in our childhood that we don't remember. A lot that we do, but a lot that we don't. And the older we get, it's like, for me anyway, I don't remember as much of my childhood. So she was able to just pinpoint, at this age, this caused a disturbance or an imbalance, and this flower essence will help to support that, will help to release that past experience, bring it to the surface and release. And that's exactly how it worked for me. I think the way she worked was, I would go back every 4 to 6 weeks. So she would prescribe certain remedies. I would go downstairs and buy them, and then I would take them for 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'd go back and see her, and she'd do another consult and start all over again, and muscle test for what I needed for the next round of releasing what was stored and what I was holding in my body. And for the most part, and this is my experience with flower essences still, is that they're, again, I said this earlier, they're really, really gentle, because you may not notice a lot, but they're really, really powerful. So one day you just might wake up and those nerves or that anxiety is, has gone down dramatically, like 30%, 40%, 50%. Sometimes it just goes away with the essence, because we're tapping into memories and cellular memories and past experiences that have been stored in the body. And the flower essence just helps to bring that to the surface and release it really, really gently. This is so easy. I mean, it's, you could go on different cleanses and different diets and detoxing, and I'm not saying don't do that. Not at all. I mean, that I totally believe in that, and I'm going through that myself. But the flowers just work, again, so gently. They're there to support you. They don't, once they are working with you, it's not an aggressive therapy or an aggressive way to release, if that makes sense. It's really gentle. And it's liquid. So as I said, it's a mixture of distilled water and brandy. And again, the brandy is there as a preservative. And you can put them in your water, where you put a couple drops in the water, and you are absolutely not going to taste brandy if you don't like the taste of alcohol for whatever reason, or are sensitive to it. Once it's in the water, you don't taste it at all. Hi Dawn. Hi Sharon. That's nice to see you ladies. Thanks for joining me. I'm just kind of wrapping up, but let me know if you have any questions. And I love that you are recommending them to your patients. They're just such a wonderful support. And unlike tinctures, where you might get a nice tincture that's like rose, that tastes like roses, you might get a tincture that's like a yellow dock, which is a root that tastes really rooty and dark, and some people go, oh, I don't like that. But with a flower essence, it just tastes like watered down brandy, couple of drops. I do recommend 2 or 3 times a day. and your body will know when it doesn't need it anymore. So when I do the custom blends for people, a bottle like this typically will last 2 months, believe it or not. It goes quite a long way. But when your body's done, it's done. And another flower essence practitioner I'd worked with, let's see, I'm going to say in my 30s, I think, yeah. So she was really neat. She also muscle tested to see what I needed. And she gave me a flower essence, which I actually still have. But she recommended a particular flower essence. And I took it, I don't even remember, 2, 3, 4 weeks, something like that. And I thought I had to finish the bottle. It was really funny. Just one day I just didn't want to take it anymore. And I reached back out to her and I said, am I doing it wrong? Should I finish? Because my first experience, they were smaller bottles that I was purchasing. They were half-ounce bottles. So, those lasted me like the month or the 3 or 4 weeks that I saw that practitioner. But the second practitioner said, no, your body, when it doesn't need it anymore, it will just, you won't gravitate. You won't want to grab it. So I thought that was so interesting. And obviously our bodies are so intelligent and so wise, but I didn't, from that moment on, I didn't feel bad about, I have to finish this. If I don't finish the bottle, then I didn't complete the program and it doesn't work. No, your body knows. And if you need to go back to it, you go back to it. So at the top, I was talking about the Echinacea, and I do go stretches of not taking it because I take it for a week or two and I start to feel really, really good and positive and things are flowing. And then I forget that I stopped taking it. I have realized for me, and this is for me, that this is something that is super helpful for me to take daily. It's a really good support for me. And of course I can muscle test and douse to see if I need to take it every day. But it's almost like, if I can equate it to, and again, this isn't medicine in the traditional way that we're used to it, but it would be like somebody on a certain medication that they need every day, and then one day they just decide to stop taking it, and like 3 or 4 weeks later their body's really not doing well because they stopped taking it. So again, I am not saying that this is the case for everyone with this particular essence. It is just an ally for me. It's something that really works to support me and to help me. So it's the first flower that I wanted to share and that wanted to be shared. So thank you for joining me. And thank you for everyone that's on. I can't quite, Facebook has sort of changed how they're doing the lives. I used to be able to see how many people were watching live, and for some reason I'm not sure where to find that information right now. But I see a couple of comments. Oh, there it is, 2 viewers. So I think it's Dawn and Sharon. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. And like I said, anyone watching the replay, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them in, and I will be thinking about the flower essence I want to share with you next week. And if anyone is watching this, even the 2 ladies that are on right now, are there any, not flowers per se, but are there any issues that you guys are curious about to see if there's support with an essence? Like, I mean, some of the ones that come to mind for me around wintertime is like depression or loneliness and things like that. But anything people are maybe struggling with, or anything your clients are struggling with, and you are thinking, oh, what would be a good essence for this, and know that there isn't one flower essence just for trauma. Echinacea for me just happens to be my go-to for that, but there are certainly other essences that can work to address, say, loneliness or abandonment or loss, grief. If people have lost a loved one or a pet, they're going through all different stages of grief. So there isn't just one flower essence for grief. There's a variety of them, and it just depends on what that person needs in that particular moment. And the next time they go through a cycle of grief, it might be a different essence that is really called to help support them. So again, thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Have a wonderful night.